listening to Pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 57, Kept in Not Knowing. For us, regular people, we who not necessarily sit in high positions in society, we regular people, it is not very far-fetched to say that in times of change, such as these times, there is a lot going on that we regular people are kept in not knowing about. There is a lot of news. There is immense amount of information. But still, it is not very difficult to deduce that we regular people are kept in the dark about a lot of the most important stuff. So I guess we are left with two options. And the first option is to try to find out as much as we can about the things that we are kept in not knowing about. That's the first. And the second thing, the second option we have, is to emotionally try to cope or take care of ourselves in the sense of loss of control that comes with knowing that we do not know. This episode is called Kept in Not Knowing. And I will, in this episode, put emphasis on our second option. What we can do to address and take care of our loss of control from not knowing. All of us, when we feel intuitively that we do not know about a lot of the most important stuff affecting our lives, all of us have our own ways of trying to regain a sense of control. To regain control would be more about the first option. To regain control, actual, real control, would be more about trying to find information about what we are kept in the dark about. But sometimes it is not feasible for us to find out about all of those things. Not for us regular people. It's not really realistic all the time. Some of the time, yes. Perhaps even often. But not all the time. So, most of the time, we just feel that we are not in control. And this feeling is very difficult. To feel that you are not in charge of your own life is almost unbearable. And every time you feel that your life feels unbearable, it is often due to this, that you are not in charge. You are not in control of what is going on. And today's episode is about this very difficult situation, this very difficult predicament. All of us have our own ways to deal with this unbearable feeling of not being in charge. So basically what we try to do is that we try to regain a sense of control. And we do that in a number of different ways. And I guess in one sense, all ways to feel control are valid in some sense. And at the same time, we have some ways that we prefer and some ways that feel not as constructive. However, when it comes to this very difficult feeling of not being in charge, of being kept in not knowing by those who are in charge, or at least those who are more in charge than we are. I think it is a very difficult feeling. And since it is so devastatingly difficult to sort of not feel in charge, I think it's important not to judge ourselves too harshly. Initially, to not initially judge ourselves too harshly about our natural ways, our personal natural ways of trying to regain a sense of control. Because at the end of the day, what are we supposed to do? We are left in this almost impossible situation of not being in charge of what happens to us. But we know that we are not in charge, or at least not in charge so much as we would like. We are just a little in charge, but not so much that it feels fulfilling or feels good. So what are we supposed to do? Whatever we do, whatever sort of coping mechanism we have, the whole situation is more or less desperate. The situation has this sort of desperate flavor to it. It's a common saying that one of the curses about being a human being is that we know things that are not very fun to know. We know things that are very painful to know. We know we're gonna die. We know we are gonna grow old. We know that we will grow sick and our body will break down gradually and slowly. We know that we will lose people we love. We know that things will change all the time. So things we are attached to will change. And we know that we are not in charge as much as we would like to be. And all of these sort of painful things we know about our predicament, about our life, there is this sort of flavor to it that is desperate no matter what we do. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy to know these things. And it's not supposed to be easy to know that we do not know a lot of important stuff. It's not supposed to be easy. In this last part of today's episode, I want to talk a little more about the things we do to regain a sense of control. Oftentimes, we regain our sense of control in the little things. I think that it is unfortunate that in modern popular psychology, people talk down on different ways we try to regain control. I find it not very helpful for anyone to shame ways of trying to regain a sense of control. So all of us try to gain a sense of control in the little things. It can be in our routines, that we have predictability in our routines, in our mornings, our evenings, in our work situation, in our social life, in our sense of purpose. We need a sense of control, or life will just feel too desperate. And our sense of control is in the little things. It is in our home where we live, knowing where everything goes. It is in food and how we eat. It is in sleep and how we sleep. It is in relationships and sexuality. It is in keeping it clean and keeping a hygiene, personal hygiene. It is in all these different everyday aspects of life. It is in all these thousands upon thousands of little things where most of us regain most of our control, or our sense of control, at least. But often, to regain a sense of control in these little things is not always enough. Often we feel the need to experience more intense sense of control, and we do that over each other. And that's just a part of being a social animal, that we try to gain control of each other. And that is another topic of discussion. And it is harsh. It can become cynical. Or not. It can also be viewed as something quite natural also. And it is helpful to pause and consider our own sense of control. It is helpful to pause and consider our loved one's sense of control, and that we put our sense of control in different things. And this is one part of what makes a person, where we want to feel this sense of control. It's what gives us contours and makes us special. And lastly, I want to just reconnect with what I said in the beginning, that most of us, regular people, are kept in not knowing. And we know that we are kept in not knowing. And this knowledge is almost unbearable to bear. This knowledge is not supposed to be easy. This knowledge has this desperate flavor to it, whatever we do. Whatever we do. That's it for today. Thank you.